Broadcasting live from WOUB TV in Athens, this is Newswatch.
Protests across the nation have fueled heated campus conversations. Good evening, I'm Justin Holbrook. Thanks for joining us. A temporary mural on Ohio University's campus was found covered in graffiti yesterday. The mural depicted a hanged figure and a phrase, "Build that wall." Later in the afternoon, it was painted over. However, the hanged figure and "Build that wall" remain. Phrases like, "Is racism at OU?" "Black Lives Matter," and "Racism will not be tolerated" were added to the wall. And across campus, local activists set up a memorial for Tyree King and other victims of police brutality. Posters, signs, candles, and chalk drawings included names of other victims covered the Athens County Courthouse steps. Activist Ryan Taylor thinks creating a space to honor these victims in Athens is important.
This national dialogue about Black Lives Matter and Black liberation, police brutality, it's important to create that space here in Athens, Ohio, because racism is not exempt from this community.
Student Senate will be holding a Speak Out program addressing the graffiti this evening. And Holzer Health System says the Uptown Clinic has officially opened its doors on Court Street. Located on the ground floor in the 5 building, it's the third and latest location in Athens County. Future patients can expect services ranging from preventive health care to cold and flu care, physicals, lab tests, and immunizations.
Yeah, so the purpose of the Uptown Clinic is to provide a variety of sources to OU students, faculty, as well as citizens who work on Court Street or Uptown or who are just close around.
The Holzer Clinic hours are set for 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. Construction to build a tunnel below Ridgeland Avenue is coming after Athens was granted nearly $2 million. The tunnel will be built where the existing crosswalk is between West Green Drive and Bobcat Lane. The project's main goal is to increase pedestrian, bicyclist, and motorist safety. The estimated projected cost is between $2 and $2.3 million. Ridgeland Avenue is expected to be closed at least in the summer while construction takes place in 2019. A piece of land on which a 911 tower sits has been acquired by the Athens County Commissioners. Property owner Sam Grimm gave over the land in exchange for the county paying off a $42,000 state lien on this and other property. The 1/10 acre is located off of Haggett Ridge Road. And Nelsonville residents will finally have a hospital closer to home. The Ohio Health Nelsonville Health Center will open on October 17th and will have an open house on the 15th. It will feature laboratory services, imaging services, and addiction and mental health counseling, in addition to multiple other resources. The new building is key for residents after the former Doctors Hospital in Nelsonville closed its inpatient doors in 2014 due to low occupancy and other factors. Candidates for the Ohio House of Representatives 94th District are preparing to face off. Democrat Sarah Grace and Republican Jay Edwards will talk about issues including the economy, health care, and the community. The debate will be held next Tuesday at 7 p.m. at Ohio University's Walter Hall.
Well, today is the last day of summer, an official day of summer, I should say, and it feels like those hot temperatures are still sticking around. Good evening and welcome to the Newswatch Weather Center. I'm Allison Gens. Right now in Athens, it's 85 degrees. We have sunny skies out there and winds northeast at 5 miles per hour. Looking around the region, temperatures are still warm and in the low to mid 80s. We have 83 in Newark, 82 in Cambridge, 84 in New Martinsville, 87 in Ripley and Ironton. And our precipcast for tonight is showing that we have high pressure dominating the area. That's keeping us with those clear skies, those dry conditions, and not much to worry about for our weather overnight tonight and heading into tomorrow. So it looks like it's going to stay clear and hot temperatures are going to stick around, but I'll have a little bit more about that in my extended forecast later in the show.
An Ohio grandmother faces child endangerment charges after she was found passed out in her truck with her 8-month-old grandson in the back seat. The woman spoke to Joe Paganakis about the incident.
I feel so bad for them and the parents. I wasn't thinking.
56-year-old Deborah Hyde of Elyria left in tears after what happened here at this Lowell Street gas station. Pictures of emergency crews rescuing her 8-month-old grandson from her locked pickup truck. A rescue team reviving her after police say she overdosed on heroin while she was behind the wheel. Crews on the scene had to break out 2 windows to get Hyde and her grandson from the truck, which was still running and in drive in front of this large wall of propane tanks. Hyde told me she was severely depressed over the recent loss of her husband and that it was the first time she had taken heroin.
What compelled you to take it at that moment, parked in that gas station?
I don't know, sir. I don't know. I wish I could answer that.
The responders came so quick. They're the true heroes.
It was Raylene Crofts who noticed Hyde unconscious in her truck and dialed 911. Crofts was stunned to learn Hyde had already been released from jail.
She's an adult. She can care for herself. She can make her own choices. That baby could not. I do think if a child is involved, the punishment should be stricter, for sure.
God bless that she did take the time and notice that there was something wrong.
Hyde credited Crofts with saving her life and issued this warning about heroin.
One time, you can do it. You want to take that chance? Don't. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Just not worth it. It doesn't solve your problems. It's just going to make loved ones hurt later in the end.
The baby is now in custody of Children's Services. Police say the grandmother faces a $1,000 fine, a child endangering charge, and a court-ordered counseling. More charges could be on the way. And if this story sounds familiar, that's because it's very similar to a recent case also out of Ohio. Police in the city of East Liverpool posted a photo to Facebook showing a man and a woman passed out in the car with a child in the back seat. A Campbell County grand jury is indicting a man in connection with more than 24 overdoses, 2 of which were deadly. Bruce Griggs is charged with intentionally distributing heroin and fentanyl with serious bodily injury resulting from their use. Police say multiple people, including an overdose victim, identified Griggs as a supplier. The ex-girlfriend of alleged serial killer Sean Great is speaking out. Christina Hildreth said Marion County Sheriff's Department investigators reached out to her after Great told them that he, quote, told her some things, but she didn't believe him. Hildreth said the detectives don't remember what those so-called things were. Detectives also asked Christina what she knew about any of Great's other ex-girlfriends and the abuse they may have undergone.
Knowing that had I not got away, it could have very well been me. So it's just a matter of shock. He'd grab me and he flipped me over the end of the bed, and I put my hands up like this, and he punched me and he broke my hand.
Hildreth also said investigators seemed to be really interested in specific red car Great drove. Asking her several questions about the vehicle, she says it got impounded back in 2007 for false plates. New details have emerged in the New York City bomber case. We'll tell you what the suspect's journal said about his plans to create chaos in the streets. That story plus another deadly police shooting. This time, North Carolina has resulted in more than dozens of civilians and police officers injured tonight. More details on that story when Newswatch returns.
University students really have a huge sense of pride in our campus, in our school, and in our education.
People don't come to Ohio just to go to college. They come here to become a Bobcat.
It's a really unique atmosphere.
Bobcat pride is having that natural camaraderie.
Bobcats are just happy to be Bobcats.
My favorite time of year at Ohio has to be homecoming.
When the alumni come back, you can see that the love of this university doesn't fade.
Once you're a Bobcat, you're always a Bobcat.
Friday nights are all about high school football, but when the games are over and the helmets come off, it's time for some gridiron glory. I'm your host, Danny Dean, back under center. Don't miss a play this season. Join myself and the rest of our team on Friday nights at 11:30 on WOUB and catch us again on Saturday mornings at 11:30. We are committed to bringing you the stories of players, coaches, and communities. And of course, we can't forget about some highlights. We all know there's nothing better than Friday nights and gridiron glory.
I knew that I wanted to come to Ohio University from the very first time I visited here.
There's something about the campus that grabs you.
It was really comforting.
Very welcoming.
It's one thing to write down your name and your GPA and that kind of stuff and send it in. It's another thing entirely to be here and see how great it is.
The campus here is just electric.
Absolutely gorgeous. Everything just looked really college-like.
I looked at my mom and I said, this is it. And she said, the tour's just started. I said, no, you don't understand. This is it.
My professors really care. They care about my grades, they care about my opportunities, they care about my experiences, they want me to succeed.
They give those opportunities to the students.
My professors have been extremely approachable.
Literally, their door is always open.
You can go to them with pretty much anything. Everyone knows your first and your last name and where you sit in the classroom.
I really never feel like I'm being talked down to or just being taught material. I always feel like we're having a conversation.
And they want to share those opportunities and those experiences with us.
North Carolina leaders are asking for calm tonight after last night's violent protest following an officer-involved shooting and killing of a man in Charlotte. The killing sparked protests that injured more than a dozen police officers and closed down parts of an interstate highway. Now, both police and the family of the man who was killed are speaking out. Emily Schmidt reports.
Facebook Live captured the moment a Charlotte police shooting turned personal for a daughter learning her father was dead.
My daddy is dead!
Lyric Scott's grief and the community outrage turned to public protests at night and a day of explanation. Scott said her father was simply reading a book, but police say no book was found.
They said he had a gun. Somebody said he had a book. We need to do our own independent investigation.
The story is a little bit different as to how it's been portrayed so far, especially through social media.
Charlotte's police chief says Tuesday, officers searching for a suspect at an apartment complex saw someone else, Keith Scott, get out of a vehicle with a gun, then get back inside.
As the officers continued to yell at him to drop it, he stepped out, posing a threat to the officers, and Officer Brentley Vinson subsequently fired his weapon, striking the subject.
The chief says he can't say if Scott pointed his gun at police. At a news conference for the family, speakers say there's no justice.
Mr. Scott sits here every day in his vehicle wanting to pick up his son and give him a hug. And yesterday his son could not get that hug.
Both Keith Scott and Officer Vinson are black. Police say Vinson was not wearing a body camera. Cameras did capture police reaction to protests turning violent. Charlotte's mayor says she is in contact with President Obama and asking for peace as the investigation continues. I'm Emily Schmidt reporting.
North Carolina's top safety official has said the incident is being reviewed by the District Attorney, Highway Patrol, and State Bureau of Investigation. Today, Representative Michael McCall presented his colleagues with a copy of the New York Bombers Journal. McCall detailed the contents of the journal found on Ahmed Rahimi when he was caught.
He talks about the sounds of bombs will be heard in the streets. Streets praised Osama bin Laden, his brother. Talked about Anwar al-Awlaki in Fort Hood, Texas. He talked about pressure cooker bombs and pipe bombs in the streets as they plan to run a mile. He talks about, God willing, the sound of bombs will be heard in the streets. Gunshots to your police, death to your oppression. You continue your slaughter against the Mujahideen, beaten Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria, Palestine.
Meanwhile, the two men who found one of the backpacks full of explosives in Elizabeth, New Jersey, are speaking to the media. Diane Gallagher has the latest.
When I noticed the bag, I said, well, this is fine. I can, have this for work, put my lunch in.
We picked it up. I continued around the corner to the store. He said, this is kind of heavy. And I put the bag down, looked inside it one more time, and said, this is a bomb. We need to go get the police.
Now, the men did just that, making a 5-minute walk to the police station to warn authorities, who were able to trigger the device safely.
I watched the robots that could have been me.
But Ivan White doesn't consider himself a hero.
I consider myself a person that was in the right place at the right time, and I was glad that I was able to do something to keep other people from being hurt.
In Newark, New Jersey, I'm Diane Gallagher.
The bombings are being investigated as an act of terror, and investigators want to know if there's a link to a terror group. According to the White House, the FBI is also reviewing its past investigation of Rahimi to see if it missed anything that could have prevented this week's violence. The Federal Reserve has again opted not to raise the bank's key interest rate following 2 days of meetings. The Fed last raised the interest rates in December, and that was the first such increase in nearly a decade. Fed Chair Janet Yellen says the board is still waiting for the right moment to raise rates.
Our decision does not reflect a lack of confidence in the economy. Conditions in the labor market are strengthening, and we expect that to continue. And while inflation remains low, we expect it to rise to our 2% objective over time.
At least 3 of the top Fed officials wanted to raise interest rates, the most dissent among board members this year. Yellen admitted that there are growing calls to raise rates, but warned them that now is not the time. On Wall Street today, stocks soared across the board after Yellen's Fed rate announcement. Here's a look at stocks of local interest. CEO of pharma giant Mylan is in hot water tonight following her EpiPen proposal that has the story still ahead.
Tomorrow is the first day of fall, but it feels like summer temperatures are sticking around. I'll tell you more in my extended forecast next on Newswatch.
Professors really care. They care about my grades, they care about my opportunities, they care about my experiences, they want me to succeed.
They give those opportunities to the students.
My professors have been extremely approachable.
Literally, their door is always open. You can go to them with pretty much anything.
Everyone knows your first and your last name and where you sit in the classroom.
I really never feel like I'm being talked down to or just being taught material. I always feel like we're having a conversation.
And they want to share those opportunities and those experiences with us.
Ohio University students really have a huge sense of pride in our campus, in our school, and in our education.
People don't come to Ohio just to go to college. They come here to become a Bobcat.
It's a really unique atmosphere.
Bobcat pride is having that natural camaraderie.
Bobcats are just happy to be Bobcats.
My favorite time of year at Ohio has to be homecoming.
When the alumni come back, you can see that the love of this university doesn't fade.
Once you're a Bobcat, you're always a Bobcat.
I knew that I wanted to come to Ohio University from the very first time I visited here.
There's something about the campus that grabs you.
It was really comforting.
Very welcoming.
It's one thing to write down your name and your GPA and that kind of stuff and send it in. It's another thing entirely to be here and see how great it is.
The campus here is just electric.
Absolutely gorgeous. Everything just looked really college-like.
I looked at my mom and I said, this is it. And she said, the tour's just started. I said, no, you don't understand. This is it.
Friday nights are all about high school football, but when the games are over and the helmets come off, it's time for some gridiron glory. I'm your host, Danny Dean, back under center. Don't miss a play this season. Join myself and the rest of our team on Friday nights at 11:30 on WOUB and catch us again on Saturday mornings at 11:30. We are committed to bringing you the stories of players, coaches, and communities, and of course, we can't forget about some highlights. We all know there's nothing better than Friday nights and gridiron glory.
Evening and welcome back to the Newswatch Weather Center. I'm Allison Gens. Right now in Athens, it's 85 degrees and we have sunny skies out there right now. Winds northeast at 5 miles per hour. Looking around the region, temperatures are in the low to mid 80s. We have 83 in Newark, 82 in New Lexington, 85 in Marietta, 87 in Ripley, and 86 in Jackson. Our almanac today shows that we were over 10 degrees above our normal temperature for this time of year. 87 degrees was our high today. We're normally around 75 degrees for this time of year. Our low, though, was right on track with 57 degrees, a little bit above, but right on track for what we should be expecting. Now, overnight tonight, we see on our precipcast that we have high pressure over the area. That's going to continue to stick around. It's not going to bring us any sort of precipitation. It's going to keep skies clear and conditions dry. Now, if you look out toward the west, you can see there's a low pressure system. That's not going to affect us in any way overnight, and as you see into tomorrow, it begins to move off north instead of coming down into our region. So for tomorrow, again, we will expect those clear skies and those warmer temperatures in our region. Now, overnight tonight, temperatures dropping into the upper 50s and low 60s. We have 58 in New Lexington, 59 in Chillicothe, 60 in Jackson, and 59 in Ripley, with mostly clear skies across the region. Now tomorrow, warming up to the upper 80s again. We'll see 87 in Cambridge, 87 also in Newark, 89 in Columbus, 89 in Chillicothe, and 88 in Athens, with mostly sunny skies throughout the day. Tonight, our low will be 60 degrees. We'll have those clear skies and calm conditions. Now tomorrow, as you head out to the bus stop in the morning, we'll have 59 degrees as your temperature, so it's going to be a little bit chillier in the mornings. You might want to give your kid a coat to take along, but it will be a nice morning, and then by the afternoon, they'll no longer need that coat. 88 degrees as our high temperature, plentiful sunshine, and as I've been saying, tomorrow's our first official day of fall, but it's going to continue to feel like summer with those hot upper 80 temperatures. And looking at our extended forecast, those summer-like temperatures look to stick around even in through the weekend, with 86 degrees on Saturday and By next week, 86 on Monday, then it starts to cool down a little bit by midweek and with a slight chance of rain beginning to move its way through. Now I'm going to send it back over to Justin.
Thanks, Allison. I'm always a fan of the 80-degree weather. CEO of pharma giant Mylan got a taste of her own medicine tonight. Chief Heather Bresch first outlined a 4-part program to reduce rates on the EpiPen. Her plans include creating a cheaper $300 generic pen, an option to directly purchase from Mylan, and doubling eligibility for the amount of free pens. However, Utah Representative Jason Chavitz says he doesn't believe the CEO.
You say you only get $275, now you're going to get $300, correct?
Well, I think the direct ship will be we're trying to do that in case to catch everybody. We're hoping that at least
So you're actually raising the price. You're actually raising the price.
No, sir, our net
You're going to have more revenue.
Our net sales will absolutely go down. Our net per pen will go down dramatically.
How does your net per pen go down when you're collecting, as you say, I don't know that I believe you, but $274, and under the direct program, you're going to collect $300.
Other representatives accuse the company of getting filthy rich at the expense of their constituents. The cost of EpiPen 2-packs has risen from $94 in 2007 to $609 today. Chipotle is still trying to regain the trust of its customers. In a video posted to the Chipotle website, founder Steve Ells says he's made good on his promise to improve food safety protections. That includes advancements in farming, stricter restaurant inspections, and a system that tracks ingredients through the supply system. Chipotle's stock price and sales have been hit hard by the stain on its reputation. It reported its first quarterly loss earlier this year. Now let's go over to Clark Woolley for sports.
How's it going, everyone? I'm Clark Woolley. Both the Indians and Reds take the field tonight as the postseason rapidly approaches. Also, Ohio Bobcat fans have established a football season ticket sales record for the 4th consecutive season. That story and much more next on Newswatch. Stay tuned to WOUB. Here's a look at what's coming up on your public television station.
Friday nights are all about high school football, but when the games are over and the helmets come off, it's time for some gridiron glory. I'm your host, Danny Dean, back under center. Don't miss a play this season. Join myself and the rest of our team on Friday nights at 11:30 on WOUB and catch us again on Saturday mornings at 11:30. We are committed to bringing you the stories of players, coaches, and communities. And of course, we can't forget about some highlights. We all know there's nothing better than Friday nights and gridiron glory.
Ohio University students really have a huge sense of pride in our campus, in our school, and in our education.
People don't come to Ohio just to go to college. They come here to become a Bobcat.
It's a really unique atmosphere.
Bobcat pride is having that natural camaraderie.
Bobcats are just happy to be Bobcats.
My favorite time of year at Ohio has to be homecoming.
When the alumni come back, you can see that the love of this university doesn't fade.
Once you're a Bobcat, you're always a Bobcat.
My professors really care. They care about my grades, they care about my opportunities, they care about my experiences, they want me to succeed.
They give those opportunities to the students.
My professors have been extremely approachable.
Literally, their door is always open.
You can go to them with pretty much anything.
Everyone knows your first and your last name and where you sit in the classroom.
I really never feel like I'm being talked down to or just being taught material. I always feel like I'm having a conversation.
And they want to share those opportunities and those experiences with us.
I knew that I wanted to come to Ohio University from the very first time I visited here.
There's something about the campus that grabs you.
It was really comforting.
Very welcoming.
It's one thing to write down your name and your GPA and that kind of stuff and send it in. It's another thing entirely to be here and see how great it is.
The campus here is just electric.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Everything just looked really college-like.
I looked at my mom and I said, "This is it." And she said, "The tour's just started." I said, "No, you don't understand. This is it."
Welcome back. I'm Clark Woolley. Although it's only Wednesday, Ohio football is in the headlines once again as the season ticket sales and revenue record has been set for a 4th consecutive season. Season ticket sales have nearly tripled over the last 4 seasons, and 8,000 season tickets have been sold for the first time in program history. The Bobcat faithful have also led the Mid-American Conference in home attendance the last 4 seasons. Fans will welcome back the Bobcats this Saturday as they host Gardner-Webb at 2 p.m. in Peden Stadium. Cleveland Browns wide receiver Josh Gordon is making headlines for all the wrong reasons once again, this time after failing to respond to several months' worth of subpoenas in a paternity case. Christina Lockhart of Maple Heights said that Gordon is the father of her 1-year-old daughter. Gordon was ordered to provide DNA samples to the court by September of last year, and after failing to show up to his hearing on August 31st, an arrest warrant was issued. As of right now, Gordon is expected to make his return to the gridiron Week 5 against the New England Patriots. It was a battle of the borders last night as the United States and Canada squared off in the second game of the group stage in the 2016 World Cup of Hockey. Unfortunately for the Americans, a pair of goals from Matt Duchene of the Colorado Avalanche and 34 saves from goalie Carey Price was way too much as the USA was overmatched in skill, speed, and depth and led Canada to a 4-2 victory. The loss eliminated Team USA from advancing any further in the competition, where Team Canada, who has trailed for only 1 minute and 29 seconds in the whole tournament, have moved to 2-0. Speaking of the red, white, and unfortunately blue, the Cincinnati Reds will look to avoid being swept by the Chicago Cubs tonight in the final game of the 3-game series. History is on the side of the Cubs in this one as the Reds come into this game with a abysmal 3-12 record and a 53-116 run disadvantage against Chicago. 23-year-old Robert Stevenson will get the ball for the Reds as he's only making his 6th appearance of the concluding season. Seasoned veteran John Lackey is on the bump for the Cubs and will look to be the final Cubs starter to reach double digits in the win column. First pitch is set for 8:05. Cy Young candidate Corey Kluber and the Cleveland Indians are in action tonight as they host the defending champion Kansas City Royals. Game 1 of the series ended in a dramatic fashion as the Indians' Brandon Guyer hit a walk-off RBI single in the bottom of the 9th to put the Windians 7 games up in the division. With Guyer's walk-off, the Indians now lead the majors with 11 walk-off wins, which have come from 9 different players, a stat that usually helps teams make deep runs into October. Kluber's first pitch is set for 7:10. I'm Clark Woolley, and that's it for sports. Back to you, Justin.
Thanks, Clark. A Kentucky farmer and his family did a double take when one of their cows gave birth to a calf with 2 faces. The farmer says he was literally shocked when the rare half-and-half calf was being born.
2 noses and thought it was twins, and then when I saw her, I was just completely blown away.
The calf, named Lucky, requires a little help with feeding and walking, but otherwise seems healthy. Now let's go over to Allison Gens for one last look at the weather.
Thanks, Justin. Tonight, 60 degrees for your low with clear skies, and then tomorrow, warming up again, 88 degrees for your high temperature with plentiful sunshine throughout the day. Winds south, 0 to 5 miles per hour. Now looking at your extended forecast, temperatures stay in the upper 80s through the rest of the week and into Saturday, dropping slightly to 86 degrees. Those sunny skies sticking around. Temperatures go down a little bit on Sunday with 83 degrees and then back to the mid-80s for Monday. But then by Tuesday, temperatures starting to drop. We do have a slight chance of showers, and then by Wednesday, 79 degrees as our high, so it is going to start cooling down, but for right now, it looks like those summer-like temperatures are continuing to stick around as we head into October. Justin?
Thanks, Allison. And that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. I'm Justin Holbrook. Stay tuned to the PBS NewsHour coming up next. And remember, you can find the latest news anytime at WOUB.org. Have a great night.
Friday nights are all about high school football, but when the games are over and the helmets come off, it's time for some gridiron glory. I'm your host, Danny Dean, back under center. Don't miss a play this season. Join myself and the rest of our team on Friday nights at 11:30 on WOUB, and catch us again on Saturday mornings at 11:30. We are committed to bringing you the stories of players, coaches, and communities, and of course, we can't forget about some highlights. We all know there's nothing better than Friday nights and gridiron glory.